Hello everyone, this is Jonas Jinkeng. I am a graduate student at Grand Canyon University, and my course is penetration testing and risk management. So today I'll be demonstrating a hack on my first lab, a hack on my Cubstrix machine. And to do the hack, first of all, going to identify the IP address of my Cubtrick machine. And to do that, I have to list the services running on my Kali box, and I have to do this through uh, the AppScan LS to list all the services running, and from there I'll be able to get the IP address of my Cubtrix machine. And so here on my screen, you can see that I run the scan right here, the ARP scan ls, and it listed all the IP addresses, and I was able to identify the IP address of my Cubtrix machine. From here, I am going to do an Nmap. I'm going to scan the IP. I'm going to scan that particular IP address of my Cubtrix machine to discover the ports which are open on my system. So right here, as you can equally see, a search of the Cubtrix machine showing open ports. So this is it. And here we can see that SSH port 22 is open and listening to this TCP network, listening to TCP. And port 80 is equally open, that's the web. Port 111, 111 is open. So I'm sure it's a remote port, as well as 139, which is a NetBIOS, 443, which is a HTTP secure, and 32768 TCP, which is equally open, and it's a file net. So, and we equally see the MAC address of my machine. So right here, as we are seeing, this is an Nmap scan of my Cubtrix machine that is showing all the open services that are running on that machine. So as we've seen, the next item we're going to talk on is how to do an enumeration and footprinting of my Cubtrix machine. So we are going to do that equally through my Kali box. We are doing the footprinting on through my Kali box, and it's going to show an analysis of all the services that are running on my Cubtrix machine. So here, we did that with Nmap lowercase s and uppercase v, which is showing to show the services that are running. And as we see again, we did that, and we put the same IP address of my Cubtrix machine, and we did a scan, and it's showing all the open the services that are open on that machine as well. So that's the enumeration. That's conducting an enumeration of my Cubtrix machine. The next item is going to do that we're going to look at will be a scan. We're going to do a scan of my or a vulnerability scan to get the vulnerabilities that are on my system. We're going to do a vulnerability scan to get the vulnerabilities on my system. So this is the vulnerability scan, and on my vulnerability scan, we're going to see that I did a vulnerability scan with Nmap P and uppercase A with the same IP address, and that command is to use the TCP to discover all ports. It's using TCP to get all the ports in the system and show running services as well. As we can see, port 22 TCP is open and running open SSH, and the protocol is 1.9. And we see the SSH host keys as well. They are showing here. So that's the vulnerability scan that we run on that machine, and it is showing that it is potentially risky. It's potentially risky, and it's equally running Apache on the Apache Linux server, on a Red Hat Linux server. So this is how we run. This is how we run the vulnerability. And here I did one of the things which I did here was that I used a wrong argument here, because I used lowercase p, and it returned an error message. It returned an error message saying that it could not be found. So as we see, the vulnerability results show potentially risky method trace, and this is because it was running on secured port 80 HTTP, which is not secured. Had it was running on a port 443, probably it should have shown that it is secured. So, and now we're going to look at the flaws, at two flaws that I encountered. The first is that the first flaw I encountered when I run the vulnerability scan was using an uppercase P instead of running it on a lowercase. So there was an illegal argument, and which I ran. So that illegal argument returned an error message. Okay, another thing was running on safe functions such as which I ran, as well as the vulnerability results showing that that the method that was used was potentially risky, and the root cause the root cause is that the root cause is this for this is potentially poor input validation. Poor input validation is one of the root causes of the flaws, and another one could be code errors while when putting in the codes to run. And of course, the remediation for this is making sure that we use secure coding methods to run our scans, as well as proper input validations to run our scans. Because if we don't do that, we'll probably get things like SQL injections, and of course that might result to system errors or buffer overflows if we run more inputs on our web browsers or our web pages without properly making sure that they are secure. So, and the next thing is that we are going to look at will be explaining the flaws and the hypothesis method that provided that and provide a hypothesis base of the findings. So the hypothesis flaws that I discovered was that I made it to identify the assets on the system for protection. I equally want to identify the threats on the environment so as to see if I can exploit them, as well as identify vulnerabilities that could be exploited within the system. So that's the flaw hypothesis. And from the enumeration of and footprinting of the Kyoptrix machine, we discovered that port 22 SSH was open. That secure share host was open, and if it's open, attackers could use that port to launch an attack within the system. We equally realized that NetBIOS was running port 139 was running on Samba, and there was open SSL showing more detailed analysis of the various services that were running on the system. It also showed the version number which was protocol 1.9, uh, and this could equally lead to a system attack. We equally saw the kernel version showing that it could lead to a remote execution and privilege escalation. All the open ports running on the system could lead to several other attacks, and of course, such as buffer overflow, secure injections. Um, Thank you so much, and this was this presentation was a lab for topic 3 in my first hack, and the some of the commands which I used in running this vulnerability scan was the SV, the Nmap SV with the with with the IP address of my Kyoctl machine, which attempted to determine the version number of the services running on the port. I equally ran Nmap-A with the IP address, which enabled me to detect the operating system and the version detection and the script scanning and the trace route that were running on the system. Thank you so very much. See you on the next video.